Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
So once again, we'd like to thank all of you for coming. We've just started Kartik, the month of Kartik, or Damodar Mas, on Monday. Sunday was Purnima, so the devotees try to get an extra day, and the Purnima is a good day for doing anything devotional. So we want to thank all of you for coming today because the month of Damodar is the most auspicious month for devotees. Anything that we do during this month will be multiplied many times over. So we should take full advantage of this month and try to pack in as much devotional activity as we can in this month. In every nanosecond that we have, we should try to pack in. If we don't have anywhere to visit, just chanting the holy name is good. As we all know, Srila Prabhupada taught us that in this age of Kali, Lord Krishna has invested all of his energies in his holy name. So just by chanting the holy name, we can go back to Godhead, as opposed to sitting in meditation for 60,000 years, like yogis do in Satyuga. Right? In Satyuga, they will sit for 60,000 years to get a vision of the Lord. But Lord Krishna has made it so easy that by seeing the Lord, earlier we had the opportunity to bathe Gaura Nitai. Right? So if we actually think back in our own lives before we came in contact with Krishna consciousness, what kind of lifestyle were we living then? This doesn't apply to Keshav Prabhu. From a little boy he was doing this. But for most of us, what we were doing then versus what we're doing today. Right? And just see the difference in terms of devotional activities. And this we all have to thank, we have one person to thank. On Monday, it's Thanksgiving, right, in Canada, where we give thanks. Well, they give thanks to the pilgrims who arrived in North America 400 or 500 years ago and stole all the land from the natives. They, in return, are giving you thanks on one day of the year. But for devotees, we should give thanks to Srila Prabhupada. Because Srila Prabhupada is one person. Right? Prabhupada came here at the age of 69. I'm sure all of us know someone who is 69 or was 69 and what their activity level is. Versus Prabhupada. Prabhupada came at 69. Why? Not because he wanted to come here and have a good time or make money or whatever, like most people do. He came here because his guru ordered him. Go to the English-speaking world, translate these books, and preach this message to everyone. So Srila Prabhupada humbly accepted his guru's order, and he came, even though he had nothing. Absolutely nothing. He didn't know where he would stay. He had no money. But Srimati Morarji, who he knew from his days as a pharmaceutical salesperson, he met her, so he knew her, and she had a shipping company, shipping company. She had ships that were shipping stuff everywhere by sea. And so Prabhupada didn't come on a plane like we do. Prabhupada suffered in the bowels of a ship, right next to the engine room, listening to the engine, beating day and night. He had 2 heart attacks. And he did that for us. So we should be thankful to him. So this weekend specifically, we should think about Srila Prabhupada and what he did for us. And because of him, we're all sitting here today. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't know each other. Right? And we wouldn't have this wonderful philosophy. Prabhupada came, he stayed up till like 2 o'clock in the morning every single day, translating his books. In 1972-73, Prabhupada, in a space of 9 months, Prabhupada translated 17 volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Was it 17 or whatever number of volumes it was in those days? He did it day and night. He did nothing else. Nothing else. He did it day and night, translating, and making sure that the devotees published them. And the books actually, he wanted to see. And within 9 months, just imagine 9 months, all those Chaitanya Charitamrita books were translated from Bengali to English. Then it went to his publishing house, Bhakti Book Trust, where the devotees didn't sleep. They didn't attend Mangalarti, they didn't do anything. There was no 1 second that they wasted on anything else but doing whatever service they were doing. There were devotees who were listening to the tapes the Prabhupada would speak into. He had a little dictaphone machine. So if you ever see Your Ever Well Wisher, the movie about Srila Prabhupada, he has this little dictaphone and he goes, Krishna said, and then he would click it. So devotees will sit there, and Prabhupada had a very strong Bengali accent. And the devotees in those days were all white-body devotees who never spoke to an Indian person probably in their life, or heard one. And so they were sitting there with headphones and playing those tapes, and stop, and rewind, and play back, and rewind, and play back, just to get each word right. So that when they put it down on paper, it's correct. So they will just imagine listening to Prabhupada's transcendental voice over and over and over, hours upon hours. The only time they stopped was probably to take prasadam. They didn't sleep. They slept in the factory. Like right there, we hear devotees sometimes when we meet Prabhupada disciples, we ask them to speak about their experiences with Prabhupada or their experiences in early days of ISKCON. And they will tell you, especially I've heard this to the translators or the interpreters of the translation, typing and all that. They would fall asleep right at their desk where they were sitting. And then as soon as their eyes open, again they will start. And then they will typeset it and put it on paper, make sure it's exactly straight. It's not like this or that. Exactly straight. And they call it galley proofs when you're doing printing. And go through the whole printing process and print the books and bound them and have them shipped out to all the ISKCON centers all over the world so that Prabhupada's disciples can go out and distribute them. And one devotee in Bombay, one time he told Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, we're putting books in the stores, but nobody is interested. And Prabhupada said, a salesman is not enthusiastic about selling Bhagavad Gita, but devotees are enthusiastic to sell Bhagavad Gita. So you should take it out to the streets. You go out yourself and distribute them. One devotee told Prabhupada, oh Prabhupada, it takes so long to convince someone to take a Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada said, you don't have to preach to them. You just give them the book and I will preach to them. Right? And sometimes we hear devotees will say, I think Vaisheshika Prabhu says this a lot. He used to visit his mother's house and she had, I think it was a Back to Godhead magazine on the shelf. And he saw it there. And he went every year, 2 or 3 times he went. And after about 2 or 3 years, one day he decided to open the book and read it. And he became a devotee. So this is what Prabhupada meant by, I will preach to them. Just give them the book and I will preach to them. Because Prabhupada will do that through his books. I don't know what the time is like. I want to tell one other story. Yeah? No, in terms of the deities being ready. We don't want to keep them waiting. So one time, so Prabhupada never ate on a plane. He never eat whatever they have on the plane. Devotees will cook and pack it and give it to Prabhupada. So one time, Srila Prabhupada was traveling to Venezuela, and the devotees packed his prasadam, and they gave it to, he had like his servant, two servants with him, and they carried it on the plane. And then as soon as the plane started taxiing off, Prabhupada said, I'll have my breakfast now, or my lunch, or whatever it was. So the devotees opened up all the trays and everything, and they put it in front of Prabhupada. And now the plane is taking off, and it's at an incline. And so the plate will slide off. You know, the airplane tables are so slippery. And this is metal plates. So the two devotees are there. One is holding the plate, holding the cup, everything as the plane takes off, and Prabhupada is eating, very like a Paramahamsa that he is. You know, he's eating without worrying what's happening around. And then when the plane leveled off at 38,000 feet or whatever, then he says, I'm finished. So now the devotees get the Mahaprasadam. So there was puffed rice. So they divided it, and they took half each. And then the stewardess came by, and she said, oh, that looks very good. She took a handful and put it in her mouth. And she went up, and she says, does he want anything else? And then the devotees asked, do you have milk? And then she said, yes. And then she went to the galley, and she found the milk and heated it up and brought a hot cup of milk for Prabhupada. He said, thank you very much. And he drank the milk. I don't know if that sounded like Prabhupada, but so he drank the milk. So fast forward many years. So this was Shruta Kirti Prabhu, was Prabhupada's servant in those days. So he said he was telling the story to some devotees in LA or somewhere. And then there was a devotee in the congregation who has a continuation of that story. So they were in the Amazon doing book distribution in Brazil. And they're walking around door to door. And they got to this door, and this older white woman opened the door, and she had a bead bag in her hand. And she had neck beads, and she said, come in, I've been waiting for you. And I think, what does that mean? Like, we don't know you. Like, how can you be waiting for us? She opened the door and looked. Her entire house, all over the walls, were pictures of Krishna. And picture of Prabhupada very prominently placed. And they asked her, they said, like, what is this? Like, how did you, how, you know, they want to know the story. And then she told that many years ago I was working as a stewardess on a plane, and I met this Swami once. And so we know that verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, one moment's association. Yes. So I met him, and I got some remnants of his food. Okay. I got some remnants of his food, and then I had to look him up. So I was busy when I was young, but after I retired from my job, I looked him up, and I found him, and I ordered all of his books, everything that Prabhupada produced, I ordered. And I read his books every single day, and I follow it to the T. So Prabhupada always talked about chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So she got beads, she got bead bags, she got everything, she ordered everything, and she was practicing Krishna consciousness in her home. So this is what I meant about being thankful to Srila Prabhupada. This is a Thanksgiving weekend. It's a time when people are being thankful for so many things. So we should be thankful to Srila Prabhupada that he's introduced us to Krishna consciousness. He introduced us to all these books. I know for me personally, I probably, wouldn't be smoking and drinking and all of that. But, I wouldn't be doing devotional service to the extent that I'm doing. I mean, when I was little, we had a temple in our yard and everything. So I was introduced to praying from a little boy. So that would have still been going on, but not to the extent that I'm doing today. So, and I'm sure it's the same for all of you. So please take the opportunity to contemplate on everything that Srila Prabhupada gave us, all the sacrifices that he made. And Prabhupada had absolutely no help. He wrote to his godbrothers and asked them, send me one brahmachari. Actually, before Prabhupada started ISKCON, he started ISKCON Light, if you will, in India, in what's that place called? Yeah, what's the place called? No, the place, Jhansi. So in Jhansi, he started a society called League of Devotees. And he was only one person was serious enough to take initiation after Prabhupada had spent so many, I think it was almost 2 years he spent there. Year and a half, 2 years. And only one disciple he made. And that one disciple didn't, Acharya Prabhakar was his name. He didn't help too much. He didn't help out Prabhupada too much. So anyway, Prabhupada's vision was the exact same as what the vision of ISKCON was. He wanted to stay there and send brahmacharis out all over the world to preach. Prabhupada never wanted to go anywhere. He just wanted to stay there and do everything and have everyone do it. He will inspire them and send them out. But when that wasn't working out, Prabhupada noticed, and Prabhupada made a comment. He said, everywhere I go, I see, he was addressing an Indian crowd. And he said, everywhere I go, I see you're all imitating Westerners, wearing shirt and pants. So I will go and I will make devotees. And when you see white people wearing dhotis and saris, then you will imitate them. And you will also wear dhotis and saris. So because people were not interested in spiritual topics, they were more interested in, building their griha and making it more successful. So Prabhupada, when he was in New York, he wrote letters to his godbrothers asking them to send one brahmachari to help him. Nothing. Crickets. Nothing happened. Then he said, okay, send me a mridanga. No mridanga came. Send me a pair of kartals. Kartals were cheap in those days, probably would have been like 10 paisa for a pair of kartals. Nothing. So Prabhupada had absolutely zero help, but he had all the help from Lord Krishna. Whatever Krishna wants, Krishna gets. Right? Mare Krishna Rakeke, Rake Krishna Mareke. If Krishna wants to protect you, no one can harm you. If Krishna wants you harmed, no one can protect you. So I want to end there. I think Gaura Nitai might be ready to give us their darshan. So thank you very much. Oh, you're still. Oh, offering is going on. So how much time do I have?
Another 15 minutes.
Another 15 minutes. Okay. So that's lots of time. So yes. So we should think. Every year, devotees, we just had Srila Prabhupada's Vyas Puja on, I think it was September 1st this year, or whenever it was. The devotees always put together a Vyas Puja offering book. And that book has messages from different devotees all over the world, appreciating Srila Prabhupada and what Prabhupada have done for them, and what Prabhupada has done for society at large. And so sometimes we can think so many things in our head, but when we actually put it in writing, and we see it and we look back, then we can see that what our thought process was at that particular station in life versus what it is today. And you can actually see the difference. So if we take the opportunity to write down all of our appreciations. He told me 15.
They didn't ask me.
I thought Jagannath, you're in charge. How many minutes?
We are ready.
Okay. So if we put down our thoughts on a piece of paper or on a screen or whatever you're using these days, just to like, if we try to think of all the things, you can never think of it. But as you think of something, somebody says something and it triggers some memory, and we put that down, we jot that down, we write that down. you'll be surprised at how many wonderful jewels we'll come up with. So that being said, I'd like to thank you all for your attentive listening. Thank you again for coming. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.